is our time. Main news at this hour. I'm Andrei Sinitsyn in the studio. Hello. Nearly 1,000 attack drones, just as many guided aerial bombs, and 36 missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy reported on the scale of Russian attacks over the past week. According to him, the aftermath of the shelling in Kharkiv, as well as the Odesa and Dnipropetrovsk regions, is still being dealt with. Rescue workers are also operating in the Sumy and Chernihiv regions. Last night, the Russians launched over 170 drones across Ukraine. Every night requires a multi-layered air defense. Air defense systems, combat aviation, mobile fire teams, and interceptor drones. We are actively working with our partners on each of these components to strengthen Ukraine's defense. We have prepared new, strong agreements with Europe to significantly strengthen our air defense, our resilience, and our diplomacy. Glory to Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, on Telegram. As a result of Russian shelling in the Zaporizhzhia region, one person was killed. Another person was wounded. This was reported by the National Police of Ukraine. Over the course of the day, the Russians carried out 769 strikes on settlements in the region. For the attack, they used nearly 1,000 drones, MLRS, artillery, and aviation. As a result of the strikes, homes and civilian vehicles were damaged and destroyed. Law enforcement evacuated 4 people. One person was injured as a result of Russian shelling in the Sumy region. The aggressor used kamikaze drones. The strike caused a large-scale fire to break out. This was reported by the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. Private homes, a non-residential building, and power lines were damaged. More than 12,000 subscribers in the Kharkiv region were left without electricity after the Russian shelling. According to Lazova Mayor Serhiy Zelenskyy, the aggressor mainly targets energy facilities. Most boiler houses are temporarily out of service. The remaining ones are operating at minimal capacity. Apartment buildings, private homes, and educational institutions were damaged. There were no casualties. Residents are being urged to secure alternative sources of energy. The Odesa region was also targeted by Russian strikes. The enemy used drones for the attack. As a result of the strikes, fires broke out at energy infrastructure facilities. Firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze. A solar power plant was also damaged. There were no deaths or injuries. Ukraine's defense forces struck an oil refinery in Russia's Samara region and a drone warehouse belonging to the Rubicon unit. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the operations were aimed at reducing the enemy's offensive potential and complicating the supply of fuel and ammunition to Russian troops. The Novokubishev's oil refinery was hit. Its annual processing capacity is nearly 9 million tons. The plant is one of the main producers of fuel for jet engines. Storage bases for Russian drones and a pumping station in the temporarily occupied territory of Donetsk region were also destroyed. Today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy will pay an official visit to Greece. There, he will meet with the country's top leadership. One of the key issues in the talks will be cooperation in the energy sector. According to the president, Ukraine has already reached an agreement with Greece on additional gas supplies. Today, an agreement was prepared with Greece on gas for Ukraine. This will be another route for gas supplies to ensure Ukraine has as many import routes as possible for gas this winter. There are already agreements in place to finance gas imports, and we will cover almost 2 billion euros in import needs to compensate for the losses in Ukrainian production caused by Russian strikes. The Ukrainian government has allocated funds to finance the imports. Our European partners are helping, as are European banks under the guarantee of the European Commission. Ukrainian banks are also helping, and Ukraine is receiving support. Active work is underway with American partners, and full funding will be provided. We are creating broad opportunities for winter supply, particularly through our Polish partners. I am actively working with Azerbaijan, and am counting on a long-term contract. We discussed this recently with the president. We've also prepared a historic agreement with France. There will be a significant strengthening of our combat aviation, our air defense, and our other defense capabilities. A peace agreement in Russia's war against Ukraine is unlikely to be reached before spring. This was stated by Finnish President Alexander Stubb in an interview with the Associated Press. According to him, in order to achieve peace, it's necessary to increase pressure on Russia and Putin to change his strategic thinking. and the United States and the European Union need to continue supporting Ukraine. Stubb highlighted 3 key issues on the path to a ceasefire: security guarantees for Ukraine, restoration of the economy, and resolution of territorial claims. I'm not very optimistic about reaching a ceasefire or starting peace talks, at least not this year. The problem with hybrid warfare is that it's impossible to completely stop it because it's so unpredictable. But we need to be ready to create defense and deterrent systems so that any damage can be dealt with immediately. Putin wants to deny Ukraine's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. These goals have not changed since the war began almost 4 years ago. Russia's war against Ukraine has reached its worst point, and neither side can openly talk about wanting peace negotiations so as not to appear weak. This was stated by Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan. According to him, the war must end, with negotiations which could take place in Turkey. Fidan noted that the Kremlin needs to consider a peace process.
I believe that this war is now at its worst point, because both sides are focused on destroying each other's transport and energy infrastructure. Now it has turned into a drone war. We believe that negotiations are inevitable. Personally, I think the negotiations will resume. Of course, we can't go into details. This could happen in Turkey or somewhere else, but I believe that peace will definitely come. Hakan Fidan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, on Aber TV channel.
The attacks by the Russian Federation on Ukraine are a war crime. Belgium condemns the wave of massive Russian shelling of Ukraine, as stated by the country's foreign minister, Maxime Prévost. According to him, these bombings are deliberately aimed at civilians, residential areas, hospitals, energy infrastructure, and vital facilities. Prévost also emphasized that the shelling of the Azerbaijani embassy is a direct attack on the principles that hold the international system together. And the resilience of Ukrainians in the face of terror commands the deepest respect and solidarity, the minister stressed.
They killed and wounded innocent people, including children, and left entire communities in fear and darkness. Let's be very frank. These are war crimes. They are part of a systematic strategy to undermine the morale of the Ukrainian people. To the people of Ukraine, you are not alone. We stand with you. Together with our European and international partners, we will continue to support and increase pressure on Russia until this illegal and immoral war is over. Maxime Prévost, Belgium's Minister of Foreign Affairs, on social network X.
France has also condemned the Russian strikes on Ukraine, targeting Kyiv, energy facilities, residential areas, and hospitals. This was stated by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They noted that these attacks have resulted in numerous casualties. Many people were injured, including children. The Foreign Ministry expressed full solidarity with Ukraine and its people. France stated that it will continue to work with its partners to strengthen support for Ukraine and increase pressure on the Russian Federation to end the war.
These large-scale strikes, involving around 430 drones and 18 missiles launched in several volleys, represent a new escalation of the conflict and demonstrate Russia's lack of willingness to achieve peace. From the statement of the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
United States is launching large-scale raids to combat illegal immigration. Raids have already taken place in banks in the state of North Carolina. The operations are aimed at combating illegal immigration and increasing security, according to Reuters. The Department of Homeland Security announced increased controls to protect citizens. The details of the operation have not been disclosed yet. Meanwhile, local residents have taken to the streets to protest against the federal authorities. They're concerned about possible detentions, and local authorities are urging citizens to seek legal assistance. 3 people have died and 28 were injured in Portugal due to Storm Claudia, which hit Western Europe. In the United Kingdom, severe flooding has inundated the town of Monmouth and surrounding areas of Wales, according to Reuters. Meteorologists are forecasting a month's worth of rainfall in just one day. A yellow danger level has been declared in several regions. In Wales, dams are being inspected, and railway companies are canceling trains. The storm may continue for several more days.
Subscribe to The Gaze and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.